I made enough money this weekend to cover all my household expenses. That's right. In one day, actually, I even had Sunday off. I made enough money to cover all my household expenses. And every single one, every single wedding was referred to me by another wedding professional. So today we are going to talk about how I did that. I am Jenny, and I teach wedding cake makers how to get better referrals, to get better leads, to build their business. Okay, so I am big on networking. I'm big on referrals. Anyone that knows me, that's been sticking around my community for a while, knows that that is the key to longevity. And I also know that networking, especially, can be really, really uncomfortable for a lot of people. So in today's video, I just want to cover a few ways to network with people effortlessly. And I know a lot of us are shy. Bakers are super shy by nature, but you do have to get out there. And let me tell you a little story about the first time that I went to a networking event. I actually I don't know how I had the guts to do this, but I was like in my early 20s or my mid 20s. I called up one of my the most popular wedding cake maker in Boston. And I guess I could call her a competitor, but like I was just starting out, and she was an award-winning cake designer for many, many years. So I picked up the phone one day and I called her. I called up the business, and she answered the phone, and I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe, like, I felt like I was like calling Paul McCartney. So I was like, hi, Ellen, this is Jenny. I'm calling from Jenny's Wedding Cakes. I don't know if you've heard of me. And she was like, oh my God, I've seen your work. She was so nice. And I used the excuse, this is kind of, a little bit of a lie, but I was like, actually, it wasn't a lie because I did refer her, but it wasn't like I had like all this extra work that I was sending somewhere else. But I just said to her, like, hey, I'm wondering if you would mind if I sent you, when I'm booked, if I can send you some couples. And she was like, oh my God, of course. Well, she invited me on that phone call, she invited me to a networking group, Boston Wedding Group. And you have to have a sponsor. You have to, like, you can't just show up at a meeting. And I was like, yeah, okay, that sounds great. It was in the Ritz in Boston, which I had never been to before. And we were supposed to meet there. And, she would introduce me to people, right? So I'm nervous anyway because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just getting into the industry. So I get to the meeting and she's not even there. Guys, like, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm shaking. I'm trying, stay cool. So I check in the front desk and I'm like, hey, I'm Jenny. I'm like, Ellen invited me, but I don't see her here. And the president, she's like, ooh, you've got chutzpah. And I'm like, great. Like, I am just walking into the lion's den here. So anyway, I walked around for a little while, and I was, I did not know one person in this whole room. So I walked around for a little while, completely awkward. And luckily, this other woman came up to me, and she did start introducing me to people, and she's actually one of my best friends. But after that, I have been to a million networking events where I have not known anyone, and I have mastered how to feel comfortable and how to make other people feel comfortable, which is a key to this too. So I wanted to share some tips with you so that you're not just going to a meeting saying, okay, what do you do? You know what I mean? Because like, that is not why we're there. It's not why we're there. We're there to build real connections. So I know it's hard, but you got to make yourself do it. You have to go to some sort of networking event. If you can, try to do something where it's mostly wedding professionals. And it can seem cliquey, but to be honest, anyone in the hospitality business, they're very warm, inviting people. So it's not, it might look cliquey because people know each other, but you kind of have to, do your own work too. So, okay, so when you get to an event and you don't know what to do, the first thing I would do, stand in line for a drink. Even if you don't drink, you can get a mocktail or whatever. And when you're standing there, because there are going to be other people standing there, that gives you an excuse to be standing next to someone. I know it sounds odd, but it gives you an excuse to stand next to someone instead of just like approaching somebody out of the cold, right? And if you have nothing to say, don't just go in, like I said, and start saying things like, what do you do? Start with a compliment. If you don't know what to say, don't talk shop right now. It's not the time. We're not going to third base. We're just not even making out. We're just, meeting the people. This is the first time we meet them. So give somebody a compliment and make sure it's a real compliment. Hey, love your skirt. Hey, where'd you get your necklace? Okay, something that might start a conversation. And like I said, people don't want to feel pressured into feeling like people are there to, get something from them. So the more that you're giving, the more you're going to get back. Okay, so a compliment is always a great icebreaker. And then you can start a conversation. So, hey, have you been to this venue before? Or something like that. But again, you don't want to just say, what do you do? And I find it very awkward when someone says that to me, because I don't even feel like talking. Sometimes I don't even feel like talking about it. So I will give you some tips for that too. Okay, so if you can't give a compliment, you can always do something like this. If you're standing around in a circle and everyone's talking except for you, and maybe there's a person next to you, you could also, use the drink thing as an excuse. Like, hey, I'm going to go get a glass of water. Can I get you anything? Okay. And that does two things. First of all, it just opens the door for conversation. And then secondly, it shows that you're a caring person and you're thinking of someone else. You're offering something, from a stranger. Or even if you're sitting at a table and, you're getting up to get food or something like that, just say to the person next to you, like, hey, I'm going to go get a bite. You want to come? And you can even do that when you're standing in a room and there's buffets set up or something like that, because a lot of these networking events have great food. So I highly encourage doing it. But you could say something to someone like, hey, I'm going to go see what's around for food. Do you want to take a walk with me? And most likely, they'll say yes, or they'll say no. And you just say, okay, fine. So then the other thing that you can do is take a look around the room. If you see someone that's uncomfortable, go up to them. That's a perfect opportunity to go up to somebody and say, like, hey, have you been here before? I have never been to a networking event, and this is so uncomfortable. Have you been? So you can do something like that, or say something like, hey, do you know anyone here? Or just ask a question, or just say something to make the other person feel comfortable. And I promise you that will start a relationship right away, because you guys started off together, okay? And like I said, the person that grabbed me in that first meeting, she introduced me to people, and again, she is one of my best friends now. So, keep that in mind. That was almost 30 years ago. So, these relationships are super, super important. Okay. All right. So now that you are making a conversation with someone, again, doesn't have to be about business. You don't have to start out about business right away. But then when you get to it, don't talk about yourself first. Ask a question, okay? So if you're talking business, like, hey, I see that you're a DJ. If I were to refer you, what would you want me to tell my couples about you that makes you stand out? Now, this does two things. It makes them realize, like, wow, this is a very thoughtful question. And now it gives them the opportunity to say what makes them stand out. Okay. So super, super important. And if they have any brains or any tact, they're going to ask you the same thing. And this gives you the opportunity to tell them what makes you stand out. Like, oh, well, I use all organic ingredients, or whatever, something that's special about you, and they will remember you. Okay. And then always remember to just, thank people. Or here's another one too. So if you meet somebody, if somebody introduces you to someone, introduce someone else to them too. So again, this gets the ball rolling, right? And then you start a conversation. So I'm going to keep this video short. We do go into this a lot more in my my coaching program, which is going to be available the end of August, because we're going to start in September. I only offer it one time a year. So check the description if you are interested in finding out more information about that, because I do go into this whole thing on how to build your referral group so that you are getting constant inquiries. And these are inquiries that book you on the spot because you've already formed a relationship, or your other vendors have formed this relationship for you. Okay, so get out there and do some networking. Make sure that you're always smiling, even if it's a fake smile, just kind of get a smile in there. And like I said, if you cannot think of anything else to say, give somebody a compliment. That will open up the door. Make sure that you're asking for people's what they do that's special, and hopefully they will do the same for you. Okay, and then let me know how it goes in the comments. All right, I love hearing from you guys. Okay, we'll see you next week. Bye.